Hello and welcome to episode 11 of the Unknown Comics podcast. I'm Brandon. There's Tanner. There's Chris. We are your hosts for this glorious journey for the next hour-ish or so.
What's up?
How are y'all?
Good.
Good week?
Doing good.
It's okay.
Yeah. Got a lot of stuff going. Signs ordered.
Yeah. It's been busy.
It's been busy. A lot of we had to move this week.
Yep.
Almost all the staff has moved into the new location.
Yeah, and that was like a fluke kind of deal.
Yeah, one of our employees accidentally bagged and boarded and packed up one of the wrong walls, and instead of getting it out over there, Darren just decided, okay, let's move. So,
I mean, might as well.
yeah.
So does that mean we're still working on Saturday?
Yes, absolutely. We are still doing, because there's still a lot to move, and also it'll get with the fact that we've been moving so much stuff throughout the week, it'll help us get what's over here already organized.
Yeah.
But walls are going up.
Yep, walls are going up. Everything's framed out now here.
Yeah.
I'm just getting it sheetrocked.
Doors are getting closed in.
I mean, we're pulling orders over here. Most of the staff's over here now. So
The creep is forming.
Yeah.
All of the boxes.
Yes. So
The inevitable creep.
from what I understand, we're going to keep. Usually we keep like 4 or 5 months worth of backstock.
Yeah.
So we're only going to keep 2 months now. That'll kind of help with the
I think that would
with
definitely
the
help.
backstock and creeping and stuff. So everything else will go to the warehouse. But it's been great. It's been cool. It's good to see everybody getting over here. It's been great to see the store getting up and running and things like that. So
Yeah. So, I was going to mention something, and then I totally forgot.
what was it about
Oh.
your week?
My week is boring. Nobody wants to hear about that. No, so, of course, we're actually... It's hard for y'all to tell because these rooms are very identical,
Yeah.
undecorated, but we're actually in the other room than we've been in because y'all...
First recording in this room.
It's our
Yes.
first recording in this room.
this is the unnamed studio.
Yes.
Did we not name it?
No, we don't have a... We have Danger Room is the podcast... Is going to be the... Eventually will be the podcast / battle report studio.
Yeah. No one said War Room on this one?
Darren said War Room, but I don't...
You don't want to go to X-Men themes? You want to go
Well,
something
no,
else?
it's...
Because we're doing Cerebro for the
This
conference room.
is the live sale room. So it just, like I get Danger Room because, like, battling will happen in there.
You should almost call the other one the War Room.
It's actually both,
Well, but
depending on what we're using it for.
War Room's like that's so overused.
It's still a think tank.
like Thunderdome and War Room. Those are
So
no one has
in the
has
X-Men
stage in there.
context, the War Room was where they gathered to discuss things
Yeah.
and to plan the mission and stuff like that.
It was their think tank.
Yeah.
It's also the name of the Privateer Press app.
Yeah. Who uses that anymore?
Nah, nobody plays it.
Anyone who still plays it.
All five.
Yeah. And they're not watching.
So yeah, I don't know what a good live sale room name would be called.
If you got any ideas, let us know.
Yeah. Yes,
We're
definitely.
gonna get some nameplates and make it official. It also has a peephole because it used to be the safe room.
Yep.
Yeah.
It'll most likely be the safe room again.
Shh, don't tell people that.
They don't know where it is.
I mean, you got a place to bolt it to the ground right there
Yeah. Well, we're actually thinking underneath the
under the server.
the server, so it's kind of out of your way.
Yeah. There you go. So yeah, lots of fun stuff happening here. So let's go ahead and get started. We got started with WandaVision. So episode 8.
It was still Agatha all along.
It was
Still have not seen anybody else come in here and.
but it is alluding to something very heavily.
Yeah, I mean, we finally see what happened with her. She took her through the real reruns.
Yeah.
We finally see what's going on with Vision. Just to see that he's literally a made up copy.
Yeah. Like his spirit is in one form and then his body's in another.
Yeah.
And they're completely completely different. So
Got a lot of background to both characters.
yes, and so we learn in this episode. I mean, we've always known that Wanda's life, like grief and everything, just kind of fuels all of her actions, right? That kind of informs all of her decisions.
But outside of her parents dying and seeing her in Age of Ultron, we don't see any. We don't have any other idea what's going on with her past.
Right.
Right.
So you're finally starting to see, and for the first time, we see that, the assumption was the Mind Stone was what was giving Pietro and Wanda their powers, right?
Yeah.
That's what Age of Ultron alluded to.
Yeah, it was never like an official thing,
Right.
Because everybody's like, well, it could be mutants.
Yeah.
It could be
Habo
this.
616 says Olsen deserves an Emmy for this.
No,
Yeah.
they're doing great.
Yeah.
But so we're finally seeing that, oh no, something was there before all of this. And maybe that's why what the Mind Stone was able to actually pull out of them, right?
Yeah.
That it unlocked something like, oh, I don't know, a gene of some sort. We don't know what that gene's called. We'll just slap an X on it for now.
Yeah. There was something there already,
Yeah.
already there for sure, though. I mean, we see that with Agatha saying, like, "Oh, did you stop that?" And then she was like, "No, it was defective for 2 days. It just didn't
Right.
blow up randomly.
Exactly.
No, you stopped it."
So we're starting to find out that she had some semblance of power, whether that's mutant power or magical power or whatever. It hasn't really defined that yet. We don't really see anything about Pietro and all that, but the assumption would be something probably was there as well.
Yeah.
That's why they were both able to survive the Mind Stone test.
Well, and they might just leave that alone and just let him be dead.
No, yeah.
So, but I mean, it was cool to see all this stuff that they really couldn't touch before, just because it skirted too close to what Fox owned.
Yeah, especially with there being a Quicksilver in both universes. So, and then of course even she was in both. She was just never really used at all. And she
Well-
wasn't a twin.
Yeah. Well, if that was her.
Yeah, I guess that could have. Well, no,
They never actually named her.
Yeah,
So it was just his sister. That's
Yeah.
all it ever really said. So then, of course, kind of another big reveal we see after that, as they're going through all this, you do have that kind of very tender discourse between her and Vision, and him consoling her about everything, and really comforting her in that moment. And of course, she loses him. They move, so it moves to almost present day when she goes to Sword, which we finally see that was not what
Hayward
yeah.
was
Hayward.
baiting that the whole time.
and he's playing everybody, right?
Yeah.
Because he already told Rambo that
And it doesn't show us, hey, that card that she finds in the car doesn't show us that
Who left it?
We don't know if it was already there.
Yeah.
If it was. I think it was left there. I think somebody stuck it in her car and then she found it.
yeah,
I do too.
I think somebody at Sword was on the inside and found it.
But I mean, the big thing is we see her say, she says her goodbyes.
Yeah,
You know,
And she
did it right.
leaves.
I think she didn't do what Hayward expected her to do.
Yeah.
Right. Hayward had an assumption that she was going to do something to reanimate him
gonna lose it
because
right
they had
there.
already failed so much.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, he knew she was coming and immediately had that team start disassembling it. So she saw that.
Yeah.
Saw him all torn apart and everything.
Getting his face welded.
More than likely, he was completely intact before.
Yeah.
Well,
and it even said later in the episode, "Have we put this guy together 1,000,000 times or something like that?"
Yeah.
So you know that they have.
yeah. And so Hayward was playing her. Didn't work out like he thought it would. So
He had to push it further.
yeah. And so she goes to New Jersey, finds out that Vision had bought a plot of land, and I think they started building on it because it
That's what
doesn't look like a house that has been torn down.
It looks to me like it's a 5-year-old plot that had been
started before
left
the blip.
alone. Yeah.
Well, it got 5 year
5
blip.
years of nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, nobody built on it or anything because they were both gone, right?
Yeah, and it was still owned or deeded or whatever you want
Yeah.
to say to
Right.
somebody.
So yeah, the concrete skirting board and everything, and of course, that's just the cap on everything, and she finally lets go and
No, she loses
And-
it.
and
Similar to
creates
how
things.
she did when Pietro died in Age of Ultron.
yeah,
Yeah,
and just
more,
nukes everybody.
just more creatively here because she started constructing things.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think where I was going with that. This is a great show. But like she creates a new Westview, and that's what signaled Agatha. Agatha was not there
Yeah,
when it happened. She felt it,
she's
right?
very jealous of what's going on here.
and she has to know what created that, and so she sneaks her way in, which is kind of what we see at the beginning of the Agatha All Along video. She kind of just somehow gets into the hex,
Yep.
which at the beginning the hex wasn't preventing anybody from getting in. That's why it sucked
we
Monica
see
in.
that Monica,
Right.
Really, it doesn't change until they send that drone in to nuke her, and she comes out, right?
That's when you get that red.
That's when it goes red, and that's when nobody can get back in.
Well,
And we also go ahead, Tanner.
I still think there's something like maybe Agatha did when she got there, because when we first see the hex from the outside, it's blue.
Or no, you don't see it.
Well,
It's invisible.
Well, when they first walk, the first time you see it shimmer, it's blue.
Right. But it's not constantly visible, and yeah, it pretty much is just sucking people in. Which it also doesn't explain why people outside the hex don't remember it. They really haven't touched back on that either.
Yeah.
Which is kind of strange.
Yeah, just how that she was able to block people from even knowing the city.
So maybe
existed
they
and
were
stuff like that.
maybe they were just in close proximity when it happened.
Yeah.
And they just
Because you would think all the sword people would start forgetting about it if it's a pretty quick
Yeah.
turnaround thing.
So maybe when she did that initial explosion, like the sheriffs that were kind of maybe on the outskirts of town weren't in the hex, but they were close enough that it mind wiped them or what have you.
And we also see where Wanda gets the inspiration in this episode
Oh, yeah.
for all of her
Yeah, her dad was selling
series and
DVDs on the street, and instead of smuggling their children out of a war country, but
and he may have been trying to do that with
possibly
maybe trying to raise
to
money.
get money to get them out of the country. Yeah, and I did like when I watched it again. So we all watched it together Friday morning, and then that evening I watched it with my wife and my daughter. And like during the scene where they're watching Dick Van Dyke Show, I'm just looking at them,
for the explosion.
waiting for the explosion.
Yeah. I did
And,
the same thing with my
They
kids.
didn't jump near as much as I wanted
What's
them
funny
to.
is both my boys had already watched it. My daughter hadn't, so we all watched it again.
Yeah.
And my boys jumped and I'm like, you already saw it. I'm like, you should know.
Knew it was coming. So just a very heartbreaking episode, right? So we see that Tommy and Billy are still alive.
But we don't know where they're at. Well, you do at the end.
You do at the end.
Yeah, you do at the end.
She had them tucked away.
Yeah.
And she's kind of got them held hostage. And for the first time, we get two terms that are always been a part of her throughout the comics. She gets her name, the Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
And then chaos magic is mentioned for the first time, which
Probability, all these things.
her powers have always kind of fluctuated on what she can and can't do, and a lot of it depends on if she's a mutant. Well, her mutant power is probability manipulation. That's what makes her a good chaos magician, is that she can dictate the randomness that comes with it. But now that she's not a mutant in the comics anymore, it was always magic. Like the problem is the comics kind of had to roll stuff back.
Yeah.
Because of the whole mutant thing, right? And so, as far as I know, in 616, they are not mutants anymore. They're still not mutants. And Magneto is not their father anymore either. They've retconned that. So I really don't know where they are. I'd have to actually go and look because they've changed it so many times.
Yeah, well, even here recently, his son, Franklin,
Yeah,
they just made him not a mutant.
Yeah.
They just retconned that.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? I'm like, why?
I
There wasn't even a reason. It's just, why would you do that?
I don't know. The only thing I can think of is they're really trying to pull the X-Men out of main continuity, so maybe they can just go off and be their own thing, but it seems very counterproductive to what...
I could understand why you would do that several years ago, but why would you do that now that you know a movie wraps?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know, maybe Marvel has no intention of combining them. Maybe they think they're better on their own, right?
I mean, if they do restart it and not bring them all together, I think you'll have a lot of unhappy people.
I do, because everything else in the MCU is so interconnected. You can't. They're however many years into this project now. You can't have a movie that doesn't exist in the universe.
Started
now.
with 2008 or 9 with Iron Man.
Iron Man 1, yeah. And then technically Incredible Hulk's part of it.
Yeah.
So we're like 13 years into this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, now they're to the point now you can't have anything exist and not be a part of the continuity because that's what people expect.
Right.
Well, with the way what we're doing, I mean, we're going to see 3 different volumes of Spider-Man get stuck together.
Yeah.
So why would you not bring in the X-Men?
Unless it's, the fear of bringing the mutants into the world crowds it to a sense, right?
I can see that at that point, but I mean, they were doing that with the Inhumans, and then they just were like
And maybe that's
shoved them to the side because they know that Inhumans would crowd it.
Got a comment saying maybe they'll retcon the retcon in the comics.
You know, it's very possible.
Hey, that's what Games Workshop's doing.
Yeah, we could come to find out that, you know, Wanda and Pietro were adopted or some sort like that, and those weren't their actual parents.
Yeah.
right.
You know.
Well, yeah, that their parentage is just. I think it's in like its fourth iteration in the comics right now. So yeah, they could totally just change everything back again if they really wanted to.
Did we get confirmation that the big cameo was Paul Bettany?
We don't know. I mean, we'll find out when we watch this episode. But it is funny that Paul Bettany was apparently just talking about himself as being the other person he wanted to act with.
Because
wow, super troll.
I do think it'd be funny if we got an after credit scene and it was like Deadpool fourth wall at us or something.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about that, but it would be good to see. Because
it's all TV shows. Like maybe Deadpool was there watching all the TV shows.
Yeah, there's got to be something there to push the MCU agenda. So we got because I mean we're going in through 3 weeks. We have Falcon Winter Soldier. Mm-hmm. So I mean, and I don't know since that was supposed to come first if there's going to be anything that pushes that.
Right. The whole point of this was to set off the multiverse, and it hasn't yet.
Yeah, not in any way.
And it may be Doctor Strange that actually does kick it off.
Yeah.
Right. That it doesn't happen until Spider-Man 3 or whatever.
Spider-Man comes out first.
Which Doctor Strange was. I mean, the fact that they had a lineup and they moved the lineup so much, it makes you wonder like how much of these movies actually mean to each other.
Yeah,
which is interesting to me.
So, all right. Well, speaking of movies, to kind of dovetail out of that, you know, so they gave a date to Black Widow, and it's May 7th.
Yeah,
it's looking like that may hold. And now we're actually starting to see like theatrical releases again that are actually
they're sticking.
Yeah.
So like this week, big movie that looks like it probably cost some money, Chaos Walking, with Daisy Ridley and Tom Holland.
Yep.
And a lot of other great cast members in there as well. So, but this isn't being released on any kind of digital platform.
Yeah.
It's theaters only.
Which studio is it?
I'm not even sure. I don't even remember.
I'll look it up real quick.
But this is theaters, safe to theaters, you know, whatever only, and it's stuck. They came out with this date a couple months ago, and it's here. It's up. They haven't pushed it. So I mean, it's really exciting to see. And of course, also you have Raya from Marvel this week. Now that is also being streamed on Disney Plus, but again, it's stuck. They aren't pushing it anymore. So it's great to finally see. Movies actually sticking to dates that they're giving it to, and I think it kind of had to happen. We have to have some movies actually stay with it, and
Lionsgate,
yeah. So, which is interesting because that would be. I
don't know who Lionsgate's a subsidiary of.
No, I'm thinking Legendary because that's Warner Brothers. Yeah, I don't know if Lionsgate is.
Yeah, it wouldn't be Warner Brothers because Warner
Sony?
Brothers has said everything is they're putting out's going on HBO.
Yeah, I was thinking Legendary.
They are.
I'm thinking Lionsgate. I thought they were. No, they might be their own thing.
They are their own thing. They are not a subsidiary.
Yeah.
They own Stars.
They have their own subsidiaries, but Lionsgate's its own shebang and bang. So I can't.
But I'm going to see that here after we get done recording. I'm going to go watching that Chaos Walking here. So it's exciting to. Movies is something I've always wanted to love to do. As we were younger, we went to movies a lot, and it's something brothers and I still do. My kids and I still do, and so it's exciting to see stuff actually coming back, so we can go and have that enjoyable time.
Here in about a week or so, they'll be back to full capacity because we're in Texas.
Yeah, 100%. I'm sure I'm thinking about that. All the theaters are probably super excited about that. So.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that means we're going to be able to open our game room and everything all the way as soon as we open.
Yeah. Yep.
We can. We don't have to.
Yeah, we don't have to, but it is good to finally have the freedom to choose.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a lot of it. Passive Texas says lit. So, Chris got some books.
Yeah, so we're going to go into these a little bit more. Our books got delayed this week. We wanted to finally actually go into a little deeper dive on a few of these books, but of course out this week was Berserker.
You are rattling your mic like crazy.
My mic is going off over here. I don't know what's going on.
You're just hitting the table is probably why.
Anyway, Berserker Course. This was Keanu Reeves, Matt Kent. I've already skimmed through it. It's a pretty quick read overall, but you get a lot out of it. A lot of it's in the visuals of the different panels.
Yeah. Real action driven is what you're saying.
Yeah, very action driven. I mean, at one point he just punches the guy right in the face and pulls his eyeballs out, and
like you do.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to punch a guy,
I mean, if you're freaking Keanu Reeves, that's what you do. And then, of course,
did they mess with his dog in this one?
No, it just starts off with him being pissed about the fact that he's immortal. So he's working for the U.S. government, and we'll dive a little bit deeper into it next week. But they're trying to figure out how to be immortal, and he's trying to figure out how to die. So they're using each other.
I mean, I would try to figure out how to die if I had to work for the government too.
Of course, Star Wars: The High Republic #3. This one has been. I read through this one. I've been reading the novels as well. There is some cool tie-ins. You finally start to see them. If you read the second novel already, you will have heard of the creatures that are in here. I'm forgetting the name, so I'm going to look.
These are kind of the main big bads.
Yeah, the Drangir. So they're like sentient plants that actually can move. Okay. So.
They are Groot.
They are very, so they're so bad. They're so far into the dark side that the Sith actually contained them, and made it to where they couldn't. Like on this, if you read the second novel, if you go into the space station that they land on, they have all these idols, and it's kind of crazy. But what you've come to find out is that there's like the Sith lords actually thought these guys were why am I?
So what we're really learning is that the Sith aren't dark; they're like dark gray side.
No, they're dark, but they felt like this was even darker than they were. And it was going to be something that could kind of.
The Sith are lawful dark, whereas the plants are chaotic dark.
They are. All they care about is destruction and eating.
They're like the Vanta Black of the Force.
All they need is meat. So, so it's interesting to see them in here. I'm not quite sure if something with the planets still between both books and the comic books, but interesting to see. And then at the very end of this, well, it's a spoiler for you, so I'll let you read it. So,
yep,
I'll let you read it. Good little spoiler there. And of course, Demon Days I haven't had a chance to read yet, but
Demon Days is pretty cool because has no connection to the Marvel continuity at all. It is completely Peach Momoko's.
Yeah, it's our own little world. So, and the part 2 is going to be, which they announced today, I think.
It's going
to be Black Widow. Yeah. So the second one's going to be Black Widow.
Oh, America.
And she's basically using the abilities of the character.
Okay.
Everything else is different. Different name. It's literally a completely different person.
Okay.
It's all in that realm of the Japanese and all that kind of stuff.
Kind of the mythological Japanese type wrapping.
So very, very cool. Some great books that came out this week. So we'll go a little bit deeper into them so I don't spoil everything here for Tanner. So he's been keeping up with it. And then, of course, Brandon has a couple to keep up on.
I've got to get caught up.
Yeah.
So speaking of getting caught up, so our main kind of discussion topic, and I'll go ahead and throw this out to the chat, and for anybody else that's watching later that wants to comment, what is your preferred of these two streaming series release schedules? Either kind of the Netflix style season dump, the binge dump, or the typical broadcast, what the traditional weekly broadcast trickle is, or some variation of that, right? We had some series like on Amazon Prime, The Expanse, they dropped 3 episodes
and that seems to be a pretty big thing for Prime.
Yeah, which,
that's kind of their stick right now.
That isn't so far different from, even broadcast television where they would do like a double episode premiere, right?
Yeah.
Or something like that. What, like there's pros and cons to both of them. The Netflix style was actually very unique to Netflix to start. And you gotta kind of think where they came from. They came from a lot of the television series that were on Netflix were just because they were like the DVD releases, right? The DVD season releases. So once they started doing original content and releasing it direct to Netflix, they were just mimicking that style, right?
Yeah.
They didn't really have, and they may not have at the time had the infrastructure to do periodic releases, right? So we didn't really see that until I'm trying to think what the first big streaming series was that actually started
Doing
weekly,
episodes?
Yeah, doing episodes.
Well, it definitely wasn't Netflix.
Mandalorian was actually, well, I will say Mandalorian was probably the first one we were like, wow, they're not doing a full
the first
series
one
now.
that I watched
yeah.
that was not.
Now
full
Amazon had been doing it,
Yes.
but it wasn't. It wasn't. I mean, they have some stuff that's that way.
And Hulu was doing it by virtue of Hulu was just a week later replay of what was already on broadcast.
Yeah,
They had kind of a different model. So Tanner, I'll ask you this: what do you prefer, and what are the potential pros and cons that you see of both?
I prefer the weekly release.
Yeah.
And it's mostly because I can't dedicate more than about an hour of my attention to the TV.
Yeah.
But my wife will sit there and binge watch everything.
Yeah.
So the weekly release forces her to watch on my schedule. And if I don't want to get left behind, I don't have to sit there all day and watch.
That said,
it.
she does have the option of just not watching it at all and waiting till they all drop and then going back and doing the binge.
Yeah, but then I have to sit there and wait because we don't watch shows without each other.
Well,
depending on what the show is.
I mean, then you just have to negotiate that. And,
So, yeah, we do
hopefully the marriage counselor can handle it.
I prefer the weekly just because to me the season drop is too much. I don't like binge watching.
I think it depends on the series too.
Yeah, I think
does.
with a lot of the stuff that's on Netflix, I mean, it literally feeds. It's not like a stop here.
I mean, it
next
picks up
week you
exactly
start
where it
here.
left off.
There's kind of like could have been some things in there that you don't care about, right? Like a normal TV show, they end it. That story's done. The next story comes up. Yeah, it's the same characters. Yeah, there's still some stuff that carries over, but it's a completely different story.
Right.
I don't know because I'm kind of going back in my head. We'll take Stranger Things for an example, right?
Mm-hmm.
Plenty of cliffhangers from episode to episode. Honestly, I would, and I know they probably won't. Netflix will probably do the season dump with Stranger Things again because that's what they did in previous seasons.
And for the most part, that's just what they do.
But there is such a marketing benefit to doing a weekly release schedule.
And this
look
is
how
why.
Look how many podcasts are talking about WandaVision and theorizing and theorizing. You can't do that with the season dump.
Yeah.
You can do that. You can do that for one episode
Yeah.
and do like a season review. Where are we going next season?
Yeah, I couldn't imagine. Like I've done plenty of the binge watching, but I couldn't imagine having to
having to watch all
how
of the
many
Stranger
times
Things
do
so
you
we can
have
talk
to,
about it.
And you'd have to watch it a few times to really be like, oh, remember this?
Well, and I guess that's another reason I like the weekly release is it gives you time to digest it before you go into the next episode.
Yeah, because you may
Especially
watch it a couple times.
For those of us fans who want to rewatch so we can overanalyze every detail.
Well, and for the Netflix stuff, I mean, most of those things are an hour long. So you're talking about 8 hours of content.
Yeah.
Or close to it. I mean, this stuff, I mean, they've only had a couple episodes that have even gotten close to a full hour. So it's not like it's been, as much as a Netflix show has been.
Yeah.
But I think for me, it depends again on the show. And also, if we're talking about streaming services, I really don't mind it weekly because I know it's going to be consistent.
Yeah.
It is going to be out every week. You're talking about broadcast TV. You gotta watch like 3 weeks, and then it's off for 3 weeks, and then it's and they're like,
because they're still formatting to the ratings periods and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah. So this you don't have to worry about that. It's consistent. I think I don't mind binge watching because I'll sit up on a Friday night and
Yeah,
wait
and
until
I
the
still
next
do
day.
it.
It doesn't bother me.
Like Transformers War for Cybertron. Like when they
those
drop
are
those,
easy because they're 30 minutes.
yeah, and it's only 6 episodes, right? So that's 3 hours of content.
It's like watching Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I'll sit and watch that.
Yeah.
And what's cool is that's a trilogy, so there's still like another season to look forward to.
Yeah.
Hopefully with all the good shows, there's another season.
I've gone through the first season of that now. It's been pretty good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Also, I think if you're gonna drop a whole season, we need them. You got to be consistent with your release schedule. Mm-hmm. You're not like you have to do it every year in the same either fall, winter, spring.
I think that's the hardest thing about the
Stranger
Netflix.
Things. We still don't know when the next Stranger Things.
Well,
is
they were dropping them around holidays, which is was like the theme of that season, right?
Right, but sometimes there's 2 or more years between the last season.
Yeah. It's like it's hard. Also hard, like The Witcher, which is on Netflix. They're like, oh, we have 9 seasons of this, but does that mean 20 years from now we're going to get that last season? Because
Right.
they're dropping that far out.
Yeah.
I mean,
And what do you do with casting when it's been? I mean,
they're
like
going to outgrow it. They're going to age
Stranger
out of
Things
it.
will, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
even
for sure.
even some of the adults and like The Witcher, if you spread it out that long, they will age out of their roles.
Yeah.
So it's
Well, if Marvel's shown us anything, they can de-age somebody.
yeah,
very easily.
yeah.
They do it all the time.
So
Yeah, I think Disney really struck a chord with their series, and I think, like I said, I think it's a benefit to do that weekly drip. For that reason, people are just talking about it all week long.
well, they're finally
right?
getting to a point where they're saying, okay, our content days are Fridays.
Yeah,
Now they're still letting other things release and play and
Yeah.
this and that, but as far as new TV content, it's every Friday.
I hope when they get, because a few episodes, one of our first episodes was going over all of the Star Wars and Marvel releases. I hope when we get to too much coming out at once that they give us another day and have like a Marvel day and a Star Wars.
I'm
day.
sure they probably will. Right now, it looks like they're going to alternate because between Falcon and Winter Soldier, you have the Bad Batch cartoon.
right.
You have Falcon
Okay.
Winter Soldier, Bad Batch, then Loki.
right.
Okay.
So it looks like if we're going to get Star Wars Christmas Day, which we're also supposed to get, I guess Spider-Man's actually the 17th. So it'll
Yeah.
be a 2-week period in between there, and then we'll have Star Wars on Christmas Day. But we may be getting 2 series of Star Wars at that point because we know Boba Fett's coming Christmas Day, but they also said Mandalorian's coming Christmas Day.
Right.
So
Yeah, and it also, like, Bad Batch being an animated series as opposed to a live action series, they may work that differently into the schedule because the new season of Clone Wars, they dumped it all at once.
on Netflix, I mean on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
No, it was weekly.
Was it weekly?
Yeah, it was weekly.
Okay.
Yeah, because that was this time last year.
Was it really? Okay.
Yeah.
I guess maybe I didn't tune into it until
Yeah.
after it already dumped.
Yeah, it was only like 6 or 7 episodes.
Right.
But yeah, it was weekly.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and it was good. I like the little tie up and loose ends, if you want to call them that. So,
Yeah.
with Darth Maul and Ahsoka and kind of feeding into what's happening now with her
Yeah.
TV show.
Yeah.
So it was good. I like that.
Awesome. So yeah. So, like I said, in the comments, let us know what's your favorite way to watch your favorite online streaming shows. So, all right, guys. So, Tanner, what do we have coming up on the channel this week?
So we've been super busy trying to get stuff ready. We'll have a new Final Order Cough video this afternoon. Chris and I started building the table for the other studio to get some gaming content in. And
We got our mats today.
yeah, we got mats. I've been working on terrain at home.
Yep.
Tomorrow, Brandon and I are putting up grid wall for live sales.
So fun.
We've got a couple signings coming up later in the month.
Yep.
The 20th, you can tune in where we getting Hickman signatures. I don't think we're actually going live with him. We're going live from the room next door to him.
Yeah, we'll still be selling product that you can get signed there with him, but he will not be on camera.
But then the following weekend, which is, I believe, the 27th,
Yeah, we
we're
should have
going,
2 different shows with David Nakayama.
and we are going live with him.
Yeah, we'll be going live with David at a comic shop in Hawaii. It looks like it's going to be a really cool thing. Thankful for the store owners that are going to allow us to kind of steal their game room for a little bit and stream from there, and should be pretty cool. So we're really excited. We'll have the guys, of course, back here taking care of the nonsense
The
while we're
peasants,
there.
not in Hawaii.
Yeah. Exactly. We'll be in the Panhandle of Texas. Cool.
Hey, at least it'll be probably warmer than what it was. When we went to
This is
Florida.
the Panhandle of Texas. You can't guarantee anything weather-wise.
We'll have that one last snow of the year while we're in Hawaii.
Yep. So that'll
It's
just
gonna
make
blizzard. You're gonna be lucky if me and Brandon can get to the store to stream it.
Well, I guess we'll just go old school, stream straight to Facebook.
Yeah. Well, Chris, how can they find us on all the socials and things?
Yeah, so of course we're live right now on Twitch, so thank you for watching if you're watching. You can find us, of course, on social media, on Facebook at Unknown Comic Books, Instagram at Unknown Comic Books, Twitter at Unknown_Comics. We're on Pinterest. Of course, if you're watching on YouTube, thank you. Subscribe, like, and hit that little notification bell over there so you know when we post new stuff. And then, of course, we're on podcasts. You can find us on Apple. You can find us on Spotify and Audible. So I think I hit everything.
We're everywhere.
Yeah,
on the
Yeah.
audio.
everywhere there's a podcast.
So I got an email today saying we're trending in Canada's podcast.
What?
Yeah. Who knows if
it's-
it's true? It's those Canadians.
It's the degens from up country.
Yeah. Sorry.
They're just being polite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting us
they-
know.
They don't want us to feel bad.
Yeah.
So, well, all right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back next week with another Unknown Comics podcast. Have a great week.
Thanks, guys.